back to another video, everybody. Every December and January, I get these weird sort of cabin fever stretches where even though I'm fishing, I get kind of desperate to go do something different because my local waters actually are some of the most crowded in the middle of the winter when everybody piles onto the remaining places that are open. So Connor and I decided we'd kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone today, and I just shot a bunch of fly tying tutorials, which we'll have ready that we're going to be doling out over the winter a little bit. But we needed to get some extra footage to help spice those up, and we also just wanted to go fishing and shoot a little vlog. So I decided today that I'd come back to a river and a place that I hadn't, well, I've been back here a couple times for other events, but I haven't fished this river since I was doing my undergrad like 10 years ago. And or 11 years ago actually, I think was when I left here. And I figured it was about time to get back and say hello to some fish that I hadn't seen in a long time. Unfortunately, this place happens to have very cold winters on average, and we just drove through a patch of 5-degree weather outside, and it's now finally gotten up to 10 degrees. But we're gonna have a nice cold day on the water, and because it was cold, Connor asked that we stopped, and he got his coffee and pastry, and I got my green smoothie. So we're fueled and ready to go here, and hopefully we're gonna go see a bunch of brown trout. So come along, we'll have fun. All right, so as I said before, it's rather cold this morning. And one trick that I have on the coldest days to keep warm, first off, I have tons and tons of layers here. So I have 2 thermal layers on, I have a puffy vest, and I've got 3 more puffy jackets that are gonna go on. But one thing you can do, if you take your standard hand warmer, grab one of those, and instead of using it for your hands, you can put it in a chest pocket, especially if you have one on the left side. It's nice because it can go right over your heart. And then throughout the day, that'll stay really warm, especially if you pile other layers over the top of it. And it'll kind of keep that heart area warm. And if you can get some warm blood around that heart and get it circulating around, it seems to really keep my core warm. And if you can keep your core warm, then hopefully your fingers and toes and all those things that tend to be rough in the winter will stay warm too. So if you're having trouble staying warm out on your local winter fishery, maybe give that a try, and hopefully it'll help out. Oh, there we go. I better save that trout. There we go. Very lethargic brown trout giving me some cold water. Alligator rolls. And there he is. This is the first fish that was over about 5 inches anyway. I took my fly. Pretty little buttery brown trout that's lost some weight after the spawn, but it's okay. They're still eating eggs, even though the spawn's over. We've been walking up the river here, trying to find some winter holding water. Everything we've come by so far has been pretty fast, but I figured this eddy right over here was, or this pocket below this big boulder was worth a couple of casts, and about 2 casts in, that fish ate. So I've caught 3 fish out of this run so far, and it's a little bit slower and deeper than the rest of the water around. It's still got pretty good speed, but it's about the only winter water we've come upon to this point. And I had a single fly rig on, but I just wasn't quite getting down. So I switched and put on 2 flies. I've got a blowtorch on the point, and I had a Lite Brite Perdigon on the dropper, which is what I caught my last fish on, but then I broke it off in a fish. So now I've switched and I put a little Diabaetis on, Perdigon, and we're gonna see how that goes. Oh, so now I'm getting down almost a little too quickly. So I may, yeah, I'm ticking a little too easily. So I think I will switch and go one size, go to a 2.8 slotted on the blowtorch instead of a 3 mil inverting bead, which is what I've got right now. And that slotted bead's a little bit lighter, should be a little bit slower sinking than this. I'll try up there a little bit further where it's in that deepest slot before I make the change. I couldn't get any more out of the bottom end of that run below, and the soft edge of this run up here called for a little bit different approach. So I changed my 2-fly rig into a dry dropper, and there's a brown trout on the SpaceX nymph. The reason why I switched, you can see the left-hand side of this run is a lot smoother, and it's kind of glassy. And I needed to be able to suspend a fly for a longer drift through there, because on my micro leader I don't have a large enough sighter to be able to float it. And so instead, a nymph below dry is a better option for that, as is typical in some winter fishing. Luckily with a European leader it's much less often, but I got some ice jammed in the tip top of my rod. So one trick you can use when it's like this is hopefully the water's warm enough you can use this, or else you probably shouldn't be fishing because the fish might not eat. But I'm just sticking that rod underneath and letting the water melt the ice off. And once I've done that for a few seconds, yep, that ice is all gone, and I can go right back to fishing. And I just caught that brown trout after switching to the dry dropper rig, and I'm gonna, looks like I waterlogged that dry fly a little bit, so I'm gonna treat that, and then we'll get back to fishing it. All right, so the last spot, it was very cold water, and the fish were a little bit reticent. We caught a few, but this stretch of river up here, my friend Kurt here that's with us now, he did really well last week on, and Kurt is out here celebrating his first week of feeling COVID free. So he had to come out and do some fishing with us. Kurt and I used to fish this river when I lived here originally, 10 plus years ago now, and we'd get out and do lunch break sessions together, and it's been ages. Daily. Yeah, almost like 3 times a week at least. Yeah. And it's been a long time since we fished together, so it was about time. we're gonna mess up some fish here. I just saw one rise, so I took off the rig that I had on below, put on a 2mm bead Lite Brite Perdigon on the bottom, a pink one, and then I just have a little CDC midge dry up top. So hopefully, if they don't take the dry, they'll take the Perdigon. Let's find out. Are you rolling? Well, first cast. I don't know if it was the one that I saw rise a couple times, but I don't care. Ate that pink Lite Brite Perdigon on the point. And now he's gonna do the alligator roll. So here's proof that sometimes you just need to move locations. We went to a new stretch of water. I spotted this fish or another fish in the same area, re-rigged to a dry dropper, and first cast on the Lite Brite Perdigon. Okay, and of course he took the egg on the point. Oh yeah. My frozen net. Hey, hold on. There you go.
And I'm like, is it a function of like kind of a humility thing that like just in the I don't know, age generation or something, that age group is more willing to say I don't know everything, I'm gonna try everything.
You're talking to the gentleman moment?
Yeah. I don't know, it seems like flattering.
Woo!
Oh, totally. I think that that's good. Interesting thought just to say that. I wonder if that, because that's me.
So I took off the small Perdigon and lengthened my tippet and went to an egg where Kurt just caught one on that earlier. And this is a Daphnia slush egg. And a couple casts in, that nice female took it. Kurt was nice enough to hop out and catch a fish on his first cast so that I didn't have to wait long for my turn.
I know you get impatient, Dan.
It's true. I don't have much of a long attention span for my turn.
Start shoving in next to me. I have to get it over fast.
But it goes to show there's often more than one way to catch trout, because Kurt has a standard Euro nymph leader on and is out there with a 2-fly rig, and I've got a micro leader on with a dry dropper on it, and guess what? We're both catching fish. So
Nice round. Grandfather's gun is around 1100. Okay. And it can only shoot 2 3/4.
Okay.
So I finally graduated and I bought a Winchester.
Good.
It could shoot 3.5.
it's about time.
That was 10 casts, man. What's wrong with you?
I made Kurt's turn to wait way too long. I'm sorry, Kurt.
Yeah, if I'd known it was going to be this long, I would have got my feet warm.
Few fly changes, but finally. All right, so up in this shallow glide here above the depression we've been fishing in, I've seen a couple of fish rise, and Kurt just caught another one in the deep water. But I've seen a couple of fish rise up here. So I switched back, put on the midge dry with the little Perdigon below it, and we're gonna see what happens. And I'm sneaking up on these fish in this water because it's real shallow, pretty smooth, and easy to spook them. It's always nice to see, even though it's not even 20 degrees out, there's still a few heads in the right water type. So there's a few midges around braving the freezing weather to hatch. There we go. It's about time. At least I finally hooked this one instead of dropped it. Nah. Oh, I got a rainbow. But then I can use that wax cider to go anywhere I want.
How does that stay on? Is it like better in the cold or?
Yeah, it stays on best, and you know it's fine all the time except when it's like 100-degree day.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing pretty dang good right now, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I really only have to. There we go. Inverted cider drift. I really only have to touch it up maybe twice a day, typically. You know, unless I'm moving it. Like, part of the benefit of it is that I can wipe it off.
You let it rub under your rod or something.
Yeah, if it goes through the guides or something like that, or if it's a hot day and I go through some brush, then it'll, you know, wipe it off. But another fine brown trout. And then you just kind of pinch it between. And that's it.
What's it called?
Scaphar's neon wax.
Ours.
Kurt is experiencing the trials and travails of the new microliter fisherman.
Plus my stubbornness of I can do it my way.
That's right. The way I already do it will work just fine.
I don't want to do something new.
Except I do, which is why I'm doing it, but I still want to force it the way that I know. So now, stop your rod, let that invert. There you go. If it gets to that point again, just stop it and let it turn downstream.
Let it turn down.
Yep, let the cider turn downstream. So stop. Yep. So obviously if you hit bottom you can't, but.
Blood transfusion for warmer blood?
Well, if you can, it's going to have to come from somebody else. Because mine isn't warmer, I can tell you that.
They don't have a shop anymore. You just go in and buy-
Fish on.
Is that a whitey?
Nope.
And then wild river?
Nice brune trout. So overall, one of the main keys is to really just drive that back cast, but not come up with it. You want to go straight back and then come over the top, because you really got to get that cast kicking over hard behind you so that you get some inertia going that way that you can kick against the low of the rod.
Because everything's so much lighter.
Yes, there's just no mass.
Yeah.
And if you don't generate any line speed, it'll just never turn over behind you. You can wait for however the day is long, and it's not going to get over behind you. Come on, wind. Settle down for a second. There we go.
What did you see there? I didn't see that.
Remember how you were talking about gas on, gas off with the cider? You know, going from curve to just tighten it up a little bit. That happened, but I didn't do it,
Gotcha.
basically. So I knew that it was below. I wasn't the one who took up slack who took up slack to make it happen that way. Well, that might be the smallest brown trout of the day, other than the first one I caught when we were downstream. Let's just say the first one that was on camera ended up almost in the bushes. Oh, I caught the ice. I caught the darn ice. You can't jiggle it out of ice. There we go. Yeah, you can jiggle it out of ice. All right. Oh well. Let's go up. Kurt, what did you think about today?
That's a pretty good day. I liked learning some new things from you, learning some new techniques, having fun on the water.
When you go fishing at the end of December and the temperature never gets above 20 degrees, but you still catch a lot of fish, I'd say that's about all you can ask from winter days fishing.
And the waders aren't stuck to themselves, crusted over each other is always a good thing.
Yes.
Still feel
Mine were crusted until I just got in the water and melted it. But I only broke one fly line today because I had a frozen reel that I pulled on it and got under the frame.
Maybe I loosened it a little for you.
Oh yeah, and no broken rods in the frigid temps, so that's good. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give us that thumbs up, just like that, except on your phone. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell icon. And then you can find us over at tacticalflyfisher.com, and we're there to help you out with your fly tying and your fly fishing gear needs so that you can catch as many fish as Kurt one day.
One after another.
One after another, and then one more. Happy fishing, everybody.
Peace out.
Peace out is right.